Victims and supporters of a crime that happens all too often came together on campus last night to raise awareness and work towards change. Coming up, we'll have the details on one of the final events of this year's Sexual Assault Awareness Month.
The Texas Tech Student Government Association recently passed resolutions to establish the first ever Green Week here at Texas Tech. Find out how the group is taking time every day to help save our planet.
And it's been a mixed bag of news coming from the Texas Tech men's basketball program this week, with a former player looking for options and a popular coach strengthening his commitment to the university. MCTV's Nathan Boles has the details on both those stories and more in sports.
This is the MCTV Weekday Update.
Welcome to the Thursday edition of the MCTV Weekday Update. I'm Noah Crayton.
And I'm MaKayla Glenn. Throughout the month of April, the Texas Tech campus has observed Sexual Assault Awareness Month through more than a dozen events. And last night, several campus groups came together in Memorial Circle to show support and give a voice to those affected by sexual assault. Starting at 6 p.m., the Office of Risk Intervention and Safety Education hosted the 2022 edition of Take Back the Night. The annual event brings together the university community and provides an opportunity for students to speak out about their experiences and connect with others to know that they are not alone.
We just kind of want to give our students a safe space for them to speak if they want to tell their story if they want to, or to just give survivors words of encouragement.
Last night's event allowed victims to speak openly, even with Tech employees in attendance. In 2020, a state law was passed that requires university employees to report any knowledge of incidents of sexual assault, regardless of how they get that information. But Take Back the Night is considered an exception to the law, which went back in effect at the end of the event. The last official event for Sexual Assault Awareness Month is tomorrow's Coffee and Consent at J&B Coffee. The event is hosted by Rise from 2 to 7 p.m. Representatives from Rise will offer tips and education about consent, and attendees can grab a free 16-ounce drink of their choice. For more information about tomorrow's event, visit rise.ttu.edu.
Last Friday, people all over the world took time to focus on the future of our planet during the annual Earth Day festivals. With that in mind, the Student Government Association decided to add on to last week's celebration by hosting a week's worth of activities during the first ever Texas Tech Green Week. Throughout the week, SGA is inviting students to come out and enjoy several events to help the TTU campus go green. On Tuesday, SGA, along with the Lively Society Vintage Store, hosted the Drop and Shop event in the Sub West Plaza. Students could stop and shop for gently used clothing and accessories, as well as drop-off clothing donations. Drop and Shop was one of the series of events being hosted by SGA this week, leading to the annual Arbor Day celebration on Friday.
The purpose behind this week was just to get students involved. We decided to host an event every day of the week outside the Student Union building during high traffic times like 10 to 2. And so just to create student involvement in sustainable initiatives and then allow our committee to communicate kind of the meaning and the message behind what that means, as it relates to sustainability.
Tuesday event was the second scheduled activity of Green Week. SGA started off on Monday with peaceful planting, giving students a chance to pick up a free plant. The first annual Texas Tech Green Week will finish out tomorrow with one of the university's longest-running traditions. The 2022 edition of Arbor Day is scheduled from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. on Friday in Memorial Circle. Attendees will have a chance to grab free food and a t-shirt, enjoy live music, and also have the opportunity to create some Arbor Day keepsakes. Once the event in Memorial Circle concludes, student organizations and groups will head out across campus to plant flowers, trees, and other greenery to help beautify Texas Tech. Arbor Day has been an official Red Raider tradition since 1937.
Next Tuesday marks the last day of classes for the spring semester, and commencement is just over 2 weeks away. With the school year ending quickly, some students may be struggling with motivation to make it through final projects and exams. So one campus group decided to take time to offer encouragement to fellow Red Raiders. Students walking through the hallway outside of the campus store in the Sub most likely noticed the addition of bulletin boards and smiley faces. The display was set up by the Student Activities Board on Tuesday morning for their Positivity Wall activity. Faculty, staff, and students were invited to stop by, pick out a colored smiley face of their choosing, and write a message of encouragement and support for students facing end-of-semester stress. As of Tuesday afternoon, the board featured dozens of messages with plenty more materials left for others to stop and add their own message of positivity. Tuesday's activity finished up at 5 p.m. SAB's last activity of the semester is the Hats Off to Summer event, scheduled on Monday in the sub from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. During the event, students can head over to the sub courtyard to create their own custom headgear. Attendees will have the chance to pick from a variety of colored hats and choose patches to make it their own. Hats Off to Summer is free for all students with a Tech ID.
With the semester quickly coming to an end, many organizations and groups on campus are hosting their last events of the school year. And earlier this week, one department invited an award-winning author to campus to finish out a year-long speaker series. On Monday, the Free Market Institute welcomed Jason Riley to the McKinsey Marquette Alumni Center for the last event in the FMI 2021-22 Public Speaker Series. Riley is an opinion columnist and author. He recently wrote a biography of economist and historian Thomas Sowell. Monday's event gave the campus community the chance to hear opinions and a point of view that may differ from what is being taught at Texas Tech.
I'm here to try and provide a perspective on current topics that many kids are unlikely to otherwise hear on a college campus these days, unfortunately. So I'm trying to offer students a different point of view.
If you weren't able to make it out to this year's public speaker series, the Free Market Institute is already planning for more speakers on campus in the fall. To keep up to date with FMI's event schedule, visit fmi.ttu.edu and click on the Events tab. The final week of April has featured a roller coaster of weather conditions here in the Lubbock area. Temperatures started off in the 60s on Mondays, 70s on Tuesday, and we saw highs in the 80s yesterday afternoon.
That's right, Noah, and today we're already in the 80s with even warmer weather on the way. So will the upcoming month of May bring any stability to the South Plains? Let's take a look at the MCTV forecast. The MCTV Tower Cam is currently showing bright and sunny skies this afternoon. As mentioned, highs are currently in the 80s, but we should top out above 90 degrees before sunset. Unfortunately, along with the increasing temperatures, wind speeds have also been increasing throughout the day. By this evening, speeds will be up to 20 to 30 miles per hour with the potential for even higher wind gusts. There's even a slight chance of thunderstorms late this afternoon. Overnight, temperatures should be a bit more mild than the last few evenings, with lows only dropping into the 60s. Tomorrow we'll see another day of 90-degree weather, but we'll also continue to deal with the wind. Speeds will once again be as high as 20 to 30 miles per hour, but gusts are expected to reach up to 40. Those winds won't let up until Friday evening. Speeds will stay around 20 miles per hour until close to midnight, but after that, it should transition to a light breeze. Heading into the weekend, Saturday is looking close to perfect with sunny skies and highs in the low 80s, but Sunday appears to be bringing in some big changes in the afternoon. There's currently a chance for thunderstorms, which could bring some much-needed rain to the Lubbock area. Storm chances start around 1 p.m. and will continue through the evening. The best chance of rain will be around sunset, but we could also experience severe weather that could include high winds, large hail, and the potential for tornadoes. Looking ahead, the first week of May should finally bring some consistent warm temperatures to the area, along with a slight increase in rain chances throughout the week.
Women's History Month officially wrapped up at the end of March, but the Texas Tech campus extended this year's celebration with some additional events in April. And one of the biggest events focused on women at Texas Tech and beyond was held at the end of last week in the sub. MCTV's Grace Bean stopped by the Matador Room to find out more about this annual event.
Texas Tech students have an abundance of majors to choose from advertising to zoology, but one is growing in size. Women's and Gender Studies. On Friday, April 22nd, the Women's and Gender Studies program hosted its 38th annual conference for the advancement of women, where all students, whether interested in the program, or just looking for a bit of information, could go and learn.
The opportunity for students to share their knowledge with each other has been super valuable for my students.
For the first time in person in the past 2 years, students and alumni alike could get to participate in multiple activities, such as mentoring with professors, meeting graduates, getting some free food, and listening to the keynote speaker, Dr. Jillian Hernandez, on her theory of high maintenance.
I'm creating this theory of high maintenance, which is a way to try to explain the ways that women of color take care of themselves, and how following 2020 with all of the sort of political upheaval and COVID-19, it's critically important for women of color to care for themselves.
While attendees enjoy the activities, students were invited to reflect on how far the program has come in 40 years. Some, like Lynn Carter, who was one of the first 3 students to join the program 40 years ago and helped push for women's rights outside of the classroom, have reflected on much during the event.
The 3 of us went with 2 other college students to a Women in Public Policy seminar in Washington, D.C. in January of '84, and that was a phenomenal experience.
Today's students show what they have done for their community through their research boards, proudly displayed at the event as some students received scholarships for their outstanding achievements, inviting others to join them in this rapidly growing field.
Take a class, right, and jump right in. So, yeah, the more the merrier, so we would love to have everybody interested take a class.
For more information on women's and gender studies, visit www.depts.ttu.edu/W Studies. For MCTV, I'm Grace Bean. Back to you.
Basketball season ended almost a month ago, but one Red Raider is making headlines once again in his time off the court.
MCTV's Nathan Boles has the details on that story, along with a look around TAP athletics in sports. Nathan?
Thanks, Noah and McKayla. Kevin Mccullar declared for the NBA draft in late March to explore his professional options. Now he's making sure that all of his options are on the table. Mccullar announced on Twitter Wednesday that he is entering the college transfer portal. He said his main goal is still to play in the NBA. Mccullar was a Naismith Defensive Player of the Year semifinalist last season. He was also named an All-Big 12 honorable mention. Mccullar has until June 1st to pull out of the NBA draft and come back to college, whether that's here at Tech or somewhere else. Mccullar may not be here next year, but Mark Adams definitely will be. He signed an extension Tuesday to stay through the 2026-27 season. Adams led the team to a fantastic first year, going to the Sweet 16 and finishing 3rd in the Big 12. Adams was named the Associated Press Big 12 Coach of the Year and the Jim Phelan National Coach of the Year after winning the most games ever by a first-year Texas Tech head coach. At Danlaw Field on Tuesday, Bark in the Park was a success, except that the Red Raiders never quite found a spark. We'll start in the top of the second inning where Abilene Christian was already up 3-2. Grayson Tatro hit one deep into right center field, and the Tech outfielders couldn't figure it out, and the ball rolled away from them. All 4 runners came home for a crazy rare inside the park grand slam. Texas Tech was down 7-2 at that point. Tech tried to get runs back. Ty Coleman drew a walk here in the bottom of the 4th for his 2nd run batted in of the night. But the damage was done as Abilene Christian got the 8-5 win. It was their first win over Texas Tech since 1976. Going into the ACU game, Texas Tech was ranked 9th in the D1 baseball poll. However, Tech has lost 7 of their last 9 games, but those 2 wins were Big 12 wins last weekend over West Virginia. They'll try to find some wins over Baylor this weekend in Waco. Texas Tech softball is back home for the first time in 3 weeks. They're finishing their regular season with 3 tough games against number 15 Texas. Tech lost the series to Baylor last weekend despite a win on Sunday. Texas Tech is 5-10 in Big 12 play, and they will try to clinch their spot in the Big 12 softball tournament, but it won't exactly be easy. The series starts Friday evening at 5 at Rocky Johnson Field. Last but not least, Texas Tech has a conference champion. Ludwig Berg won the Big 12 men's golf individual title Wednesday in Trinity, Texas. He became the 2nd Red Raider to win the individual event. Berg won by 2 strokes after a 3-under par final round Wednesday. The tournament was just 3 rounds due to rain on Monday. It is the 4th tournament title of his career. As a team, men's golf finished 4th, but only behind 3 national top 8 teams. As the number 7 team by GolfStat, they'll be in the NCAA tournament. They'll find out where their tournament will start on the selection show Wednesday at 3 p.m. on the Golf Channel. The women's golf team finished 8th in the Big 12 at last week's Big 12 Women's Golf Championship. But on Wednesday, they were selected to compete in the NCAA tournament. Women's golf is ranked 24th in the country by GolfStat. They'll start the tournament at the Stanford Regional May 9th. That's all for sports. Back to you, Noah and McKayla.
Thanks, Nathan. So, MaKayla, do you have any big weekend plans before finals this week?
Well, I wouldn't say big weekend plans, but I am hanging out with some friends just to ease the stress of finals.
Pretty much just wrapping everything up before we have to finish it out. That's all for today's edition of the MCTV Weekday Update.
Thanks so much for joining us, and be sure to check ttuhub.net every day for more news. We'll see you next week.